Hello everyone, I'm Adam Noyce, a video production specialist here at Video Guys, and today we're going to be talking about fine-tuning the Epiphan Pearl Nano live streaming encoder. This is truly one of my all-time favorite live streaming encoders because of how simple, small, compact, rugged it is. And we're going to be sort of going into a dive here because we've done a plethora of videos about this. We've done a plethora of articles about this here at Video Guys, and this is where we're going to accumulate it all into this webinar today. So first things first, Epiphan introduced the Epiphan Pearl Nano in very early 2021, and we actually introduced it on our show. Now that was done with Gary, the president here at Video Guys, and George Herbert from Epiphan themselves, and I couldn't do a better job at talking about this product than they can. So Oliver, I believe we have a clip to play from that webinar, and here we go.
Here it is here, you know, front face, back face. If you're familiar with the Pearl and the Pearl Mini, this is the little brother of the product, but I don't like calling it the little brother. I don't think that's fair. I really want to refer to it as being the most cost-effective standalone endpoint for remote production, remote learning, remote streaming, whichever way you want to go with it, because this product can do everything that a Pearl Mini and a Pearl can do. It's just scaled down to be simpler, and I think with that simplicity comes an ease of use, especially if you want to put Pearl Nanos, you know, throughout an organization like a college, university system or a public school system. So
yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it there. The main idea is to be able to bring in, you know, professional video and audio signals and do all of the encoding, streaming, and recording on one device. And you're right, it is, you know, not nearly as capable as its bigger brothers in Pearl Mini or Pearl 2, but it doesn't need to be. You know, we often talk about it as being the perfect fit encoder. And what we mean by that is that it has so many flexible options built in. Things like, you know, being powered off of the DC power jack or powered off of PoE. That gives us a lot of flexibility for physical installation. We have the SDI or HDMI inputs. We have the HDMI output and HDMI zero latency pass-through, so we can put it in line with maybe a projector in a conference room. And of course, professional audio, which is something you don't see in a lot of the devices in this class.
That truly was a fantastic webinar. Highly check it out. Highly recommend checking it out, sorry. And we'll definitely be putting links to all of these clips and what you will be seeing in this webinar in the blog post that we always post once the show is done. But let's actually go a little bit more into the actual ports that the Pearl Nano has, because for such a tiny box, this thing packs a punch. Now if we could go to the overhead, there we go. So as you can see here, it can have 12-volt DC for power. It can also do power over Ethernet, which is really, really important. In fact, that's often what we do here, is we just plug in an Ethernet cable. Not only now are we connected to our network, but we are providing power to the Nano itself, and it needs to be PoE+. You have HDMI out, good for monitoring. You have a USB in, you can use that for hard drives, flash drives, and stuff like that. You have an SDI in. That's really important. You have an HDMI pass-through, HDMI in, RCA audio jacks, and this is really big, 2 XLR ports. Now, XLR is unbelievably important if you want good audio. To me, you can never get better audio than if you're hooking your sound system up to your streamer or your encoder than via XLR. You can use 3.5 millimeter jack. Those are all fine, and those are quite common. I use them frequently, but you can't beat XLR. XLR is going to give you the best audio quality possible. Now, after the Epiphan Pearl Nano was released, we actually created an unboxing video, which went into great detail, not just about all the ports on this good little unit, but just some of the features that you can find within the box, along with some of the technical aspects, along as mentioning the UI. So if you want a good in-depth look at what exactly the Pearl Nano looks like, its size, everything like that, make sure to check out our our unboxing video. At the same time, to sort of round everything up into a short, concise video, we also did our usual product spotlight, in which gives a general overview of everything cool that the Pearl Nano can do. So Oliver, if you could play that clip, we'll go right along. The Epiphan Pearl Nano is perfect for places where you might not need all the features of the Pearl Mini or the Pearl 2. This is a small, compact, rugged video streamer and recorder that's easy to use, versatile, and provides professional quality streams. Easily add this device to any network over DHCP or static IP. Eliminate cables with PoE+, meaning you can use power over Ethernet to power your device. Use their HDMI and SDI ports to connect multiple cameras or presentations, and monitor them using the view screen located on the front of the unit. Record your streams by plugging in an SD card in the front of the unit, or you can add storage with the SSD expansion bay at the bottom of the Pearl Nano and use the USB port for further storage. The Epiphan Pearl Nano can stream and record one channel at a time. However, the Nano offers a powerful customization feature found on the web UI to build picture-in-pictures, bring in custom backgrounds, text, and more. Easily navigate your menus and settings here to customize your system to best fit your needs. You can also use the screen as a confidence monitor while streaming to your audience. And like other Epiphan products, the Pearl Nano also offers Kaltura and Panopto lecture capture integration perfect for education. The Epiphan Pearl Nano video streamer and recorder is available for $1,495. Both of those are great, informative videos. Highly recommend that you check them out. And again, when the blog post comes out after the webinar, links will all be included there, as well as in the description on our YouTube video. Now, I mentioned the web UI within the product spotlight. This video that we're about to play goes into a lot more detail about what the Epiphan UI looks like and what it does. Now, what the UI will do is allow you to basically access all of the cool things that you can do with the Pearl Nano. And we did this on our show a few weeks ago, where I went through all the apps of several different products and all the UIs of several different products to help teach you or show you where to go to help truly unlock the hardware that you have or the hardware that you're going to get and bring your production to the next level. And that's exactly what this web UI video is. It's going to show exactly what it is. So we have a clip to play. Oliver, if you roll that, we'll move right along. Epiphan Video has a really interesting UI, and a lot of people, I think, forget a lot of these applications have these UIs that are really helpful. This is what the Epiphan user interface looks like. You get to see what your inputs are. You get to select the resolution you need them to be. You can set up a live stream via RTMP or SRT, which is something that's really important. You can select your SD cards. You can select what your output is seeing. Right now, that has one of my cameras. Check out your audio. But one of the big things, you can upload lower thirds and stuff like that. You can upload your lower thirds and check out that. You can also preview your live stream, like that's what I'm doing right now. That was custom built into this Pearl Nano. So if you've learned your UI and you know how to use it very well, there is something that you can do to bring it a step further, and that's the Epiphan Cloud, which recently had a massive update. And George Herbert did a great webinar going into that. We'll be playing a clip in a bit. But essentially, what Epiphan Cloud is, to really summarize it is a command center for everything that you have that is Epiphan related in terms of Pearl devices. And it controls everything. You can control updating all at once. You can control when one goes live, when another one goes live, or if they are all going live at once. And the cloud can easily simplify that workflow. It's really popular within schools. In fact, that's where I've been recommending it the most, because oftentimes you have multiple Epiphan Pearl family products out there, and you want to simplify your workflow as much as possible. You cannot beat using the Epiphan Cloud with the Epiphan Pearl Nanos. You cannot simplify a great, fantastic workflow more than that. But who am I to talk about that when George and Epiphan themselves did a great, fantastic webinar available on their YouTube channel and Epiphan's website. talking about Epiphan Cloud and a lot of the features that it has. So take it away.
So this is Epiphan Cloud. Right now I'm looking at this page that shows all of our devices. But some of the things we can get here is you'll see things like model names, firmware versions, serial numbers, the health status, the uptime, whether it's on or offline, those sorts of things. If we go into something like this Pearl 2 that I have here, and when we go deeper, we get, kind of a little bit more information. I can look at it just, a little bigger. I can see the temperature, the system load, the uptime, but I can also go a little farther. I can look at the individual channels, and I can actually even go deeper into that channel and look at what my encoding settings are, what my recording settings are. I can stop recording here. I can actually choose to start and stop a stream. So for example, this is a common YouTube stream profile that lives in cloud. I can assign to this Pearl 2 from the cloud. I created it in cloud and I pushed it to that Pearl 2. I can look at the inputs page. And here, I only have one input connected on this demo device, but you can see all of the inputs here and their status, the audio inputs, including getting an audio meter so we know it's active, where we can use the remote login function. And what this will actually allow me to do is remotely connect to the full administrator interface, in this case on this Pearl Mini, as though I was local to the unit. I've actually, this function creates a secure tunnel from the cloud server to this Pearl directly in order to access this local administrator interface. And now I can do anything as though I was, local to that unit accessing the remote, the admin interface.
Now I want to make something clear about the Epiphan Pearl Nano, and that is this is a one-channel video encoder. The reason why Epiphan decided to make this, and honestly I think this was genius, is because oftentimes the Pearl Mini, or really the Pearl 2 for a lot of people, might just be overkill. And if that's the case, that is when the Pearl Nano gets involved. You just build one channel, you set it, and forget it. I can't say it enough. But let's say you wanted to make your streaming on this a little bit better. You wanted to add something to it without necessarily spending thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, upgrading a system or buying an entirely new system. You're comfortable with your Pearl Nano and you want to stick with it. That's perfectly great. In fact, I highly recommend that. So since the Pearl Nano only features one channel, you could plug in a video switcher and use that to cut between different cameras while still maintaining one channel within the Epiphan's Nano UI. Now, what do we recommend for that? I highly recommend, if you're looking for a very inexpensive solution, is the RGB Link Mini and the RGB Link Mini Plus. Now, to be clear, the RGB Link Mini Plus, you even have PTZ control over that. So you can add possibly even more angles and production value to your streams as you go along. Now, I actually did a test to this. I actually streamed to the Video Guys Facebook page. You can still find the video on there. And what I did was I plugged in an RGB Link Mini, hooked it up into the Epiphan Pearl Nano via HDMI, and then I plugged two cameras into the RGB Link Mini. I plugged a PTZ camera and actually the Panasonic CX-10, one that I could roam around with and one that I could have that was more stationary. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And we went live using Epiphan's UI. We streamed via RTMP. You can also do SRT. You can do a lot of other stuff, which is really cool about Epiphan. They have so many options that you can do, which is also available for the Pearl Nano. It's not just exclusive to the Pearl Mini or the Pearl 2. It's also available with the Pearl Nano. And I suppose I've been rambling on enough about this. Why don't we actually see the live demo that we did a couple of weeks ago, utilizing the 4-input video switcher that is RGB Link Mini, using it with the Epiphan Pearl Nano. And, well, I think the results speak for themselves. Hi, everybody. This is Adam Noyce. I'm a video production specialist. Well, we're doing a brief video test using the Epiphan Pearl Nano. And into the Pearl Nano, we're using an RGB Link Mini video switcher. So as you can see, here's the RGB Link Mini, and I can cut back and forth between cameras. And I have 3 inputs going into this thing. You can have up to 4. I have this camera, which is the Panasonic CX-10. That camera is the Bird Dog P100. That's a PTZ camera. And then for a third input, I actually have our Surface, our laptop, that is a random PowerPoint presentation. Now, with the Pearl Nano, it is a 1-channel system. So you can only have one. It's great for set it and forget it. I actually really love the Pearl Nano. I think it is one of the best things that we sell here. I think it's really good for set it and forget it, great for houses of worship, and especially education. It has SRT. But here's just one workflow that you could possibly use to add if you already have a Pearl Nano, or if you're looking for a simple unit to set it and forget it, but you still want to mix video. This is a good layout for that, because all we're doing, and I'm going to go back to the Panasonic camera, all I have is the HDMI out. I have it set to program from the RGB Link Mini. And I brought it over here. Now let's take a good look at the back side of this unit. I brought it over here and plugged it into the HDMI in on the Pearl Nano. And of course we have it going power over Ethernet right now, so that way we didn't have to plug in an extra cable. So we are doing a lot of stuff here today. This is a very easy, simple setup. Now in that demo, I had plugged in the mics to the CX-10 and was bringing in the audio via an embed over HDMI. However, that's because those were the mics we happened to be using. If you have a true sound system, as I've said before, we could bring this up on the overhead just to show this one more time, because I can't believe how cool this is. The Pearl Nano has 2 XLR inputs. So if you have a sound system, this is the easiest way you can get audio, the best way you can get audio, and the best quality audio you can get is via XLR. And the fact that Epiphan included that on this tiny little hardware encoder, to me just shows sort of the forward thinking of Epiphan and why I can't recommend the Epiphan Pearl family in general enough. So since it's been a while since these have been out and we've been selling these quite well, we've also learned a lot from our customers, who they're all using the Pearl Nano to great success, and they're teaching us just like we're teaching them. It's one thing I love about the streaming community is that we're constantly learning from each other's experience. And I've said this before on my shows, and I've said it again, you learn by doing. This is no exception. You know, you learn, the more you practice with the unit, the better you get. Now here are some of the questions that we've been asked since this has really been released. The first question that we often get is, what are Kaltura and Panopto, and why would I want them? Well, actually, I think you should really flip that question on its head, and you should really be asking, what is the Pearl Nano, and why do I want it? Because Kaltura and Panopto are basically content management systems that are used predominantly in schools or larger organizations, and essentially what it does is it just really organizes your streams, and it lets you put recordings there so people can watch them later. There's a ton of stuff that Kaltura and Panopto can do. Epiphan has some great videos on it actually, and I highly recommend you check them out. But one reason why you use Kaltura and Panopto with the Epiphan Pearl family is just because it's so well integrated within their system already. They already have pre-configurations built for both Kaltura and Panopto, and all of the Pearl family has those capabilities. Doesn't matter if you have this one channel like the Pearl Nano, or if you have the higher end one like the Pearl 2. They all have that capability. And the Pearl Nano truly is one of the easiest ways to bring content into these video content managers, such as Kaltura and Panopto. It's the easiest way for you to really look at that. And this truly is the simplest one. You can set it up, set it and forget it, and let Kaltura and Panopto basically take care of the rest. Now, does the Pearl Nano record? Yes, it does. And basically, you have three options. You can record via an SD card, a USB drive, or an M2 SATA SSD expansion slot. Now, I want to give a really important tech tip here, because this is something that I can see people getting super confused with. I got confused with it for a little bit, so I'm going to talk to you guys about it. And again, this is from personal experience. The SSD slot is compatible with M2 SATA SSD drives, like the Western Digital Blue drives, for example. That's the one that we have listed on the PowerPoint. That's the one that came to mind. But not M2 NVMe drives yet. There's always, they could do a firmware update later, and that could possibly become an option. But as of right now, M2 NVMe drives, like the new Western Digital Blacks, those drives are not compatible with the Epiphan Pearl Nano, unfortunately. And that's because, well, they're speaking two different languages. It's like, I'm speaking English right now, and it would be like suddenly someone is speaking Japanese on the other end that does not speak any English at all. It'll be hard to communicate with each other because we don't speak the same language. Well, that's like a SATA card or your standard SSD card versus an NVMe card. They just speak a different language, and that's why they don't work together very well. That's a very overly simplified explanation as to why that is. I know it's a lot more complicated than that, but you guys don't really need me to bore you with further technical details and stuff like that. So let's move on. Now, here is one of Video Guys' famous charts where we compare the Epiphan Pearl family. And I'm not really going to go into this. We're going to make sure that this is within the blog post so you can really look at it yourself. But the main reason why I want you guys to look at it is because you should know what you need and you should know what you want to get. You might like everything you've heard about the Pearl Nano, but hey, you want some more capabilities. Well, look, we have the Pearl Mini, or you have the Pearl Mini and you want to, or maybe perhaps the Pearl Mini is overkill. Okay, now we have the Pearl Nano. It's important to look at what you are doing with your streams. It's important to look at what you want to do, and it's important to know where you want to go in the future as well. And based upon your workflow, pick the hardware solution that best fits your needs. I can't say that enough. There's a lot of times I talk to customers that don't take this factor into consideration. So I'm saying this now. Know what you want, know what you are looking for, and do look ahead. That being said, you don't want to overwhelm yourself because then you can get frustrated and you can just rage quit. Again, speaking from experience. So know what you want, know where you're going, and also know your limitations as well. So again, this will be up in our blog post. I've rambled on enough about that. Now, one last thing before the show ends, because I've mentioned particularly schools and larger organizations that I could see really and are really using the Epiphan Pearl Nanos. Something else that I really want to bring up is esports. I can see people, and I know a few people, including myself, who have even kind of done this, who have taken feeds from their PlayStation or their Xbox or even their computer, plugged in a camera, and have streamed straight to Twitch or YouTube or Facebook and have reached a wider audience just from streaming their gaming sessions. So that's something that I really want to bring out, that this isn't just for large corporations or schools. If you're a decently sized gamer and you want to stream your content to possibly reach more people, to get some audience interaction, this is a fantastic solution for you. The Epiphan Pearl Nano is, again, just set it and forget it, focus on the game. And I can't say that enough. I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. It's not just for houses of worship or big corporations. You can even use it in a house of worship scenario. Set the Epiphan Pearl Nano in a corner, set it and forget it, and just stream to your congregation. Pull up a PowerPoint that contains the lyrics of the songs that you are singing. You can do that while having a camera just focused on your subject and everything like that. This is a fantastic hardware encoder. I can't recommend it enough. It truly is one of my favorites that we have here at Video Guys. I've used it several times now. So I've rambled on enough. It's been about a half hour since this show started. So we talked about ways of improving and the sort of history of the Epiphan Pearl Nano, along with showing off some of the great resources that we have here at Video Guys to help you learn and know about the Epiphan Pearl Nano. If you want to know more, feel free to give us a call at 800-323-2325. You can find all those videos on our YouTube channel. They are all up there. And stuff like that. And also keep an eye out for the blog post for this, because we're going to sort of make that into our directory of all of these all this Pearl Nano content that we have out there. So we're going to make that into a directory. But you can reach me directly at extension 1119 if you want to talk about the Pearl Nano further. I'll be glad to talk to you. Chances are, if you've actually called here before for something else, chances are you've either spoken to me or Oliver over there, who is mixing the show today. We know these products because we use them, and if we don't know these products, we're excellent at getting you in touch with the people who do. We're actually people here at Video Guys. We're not computers, we're not bots. We are people. We understand the needs that people have because we often go through them ourselves. So that concludes today's show, and stay tuned next week. And I guess in the end, this is Adam Noyce, a video production specialist here at Video Guys, saying sayonara.
Thank you for watching this week's Video Guys live webinar. We go live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to our Facebook and YouTube pages with the latest news on live streaming, video editing, and video storage technology. Join us next week for a great webinar on SanDisk storage solutions. Then the following week, we'll be talking about some new and exciting products from BirdDog featuring NDI 5. Video Guys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.